It's the morning of April 10th, 2022, and at the USSC North Shops, number 148 is fired up once again for another round of mainline excursions. Only this time, I'll be participating in these excursions. That's right. Today, I am riding the Moore Haven Meteor from Clewiston to Moore Haven and back, which is about an hour and 45-minute ride. And I'm really excited as today is my first time being on board a mainline steam excursion. When I arrived at the shops at 9 a.m., the crew was still getting number 148 ready for the first trip of the day. So I got the drone up and took some aerial shots, which also shows the new boarding area that USSC is using, which is where the train is currently parked. And now for a little history on the engine. USSC number 148 is an American Locomotive Works 462 Light Pacific type built new for the Florida East Coast Railway as number 148 in April of 1920, making the engine just over 100. It was retired from FEC in the 1950s and sold off to US Sugar, who then used it for their own sugarcane trains until the late 1960s. It then served about 10 years of excursion service in New Jersey before falling into disrepair in Colorado. But in 2016, USSC bought the locomotive back and finished a restoration in 2020. Even in mid-April, the sugarcane season is still going strong, and it still has about 2 months to go. So as we make our way through the fields today, be on the lookout for all the sugarcane trains that we pass. Now that 148 is ready to go, the crew backs it out of the service center and prepares to hook it on to today's consist for the first trip of the day. Something that was really cool today is that the Georgia 300 was actually open for all guests to visit and look around. So, when boarding started, I went straight in to get a little tour of the car before it got too crowded. This car was built in the 1930s for the Georgia Road, and as you can see, it's still got a lot of its classic charm to it. The car has even had the distinguishment of carrying US presidents across the country, and you'll see the presidential seal as we make our way to the back of the car shortly.
Back there. This is nice. You gonna ride back here? We can. Whatever you like to ride. I'll do that. This is cool. If you like to.
Now as we make our way towards the open-air observation car, we first pass through the Palmdale, which is an ex-PRR diner that US Sugar now uses as its cafe and snack car. The Miami Locks is the Sugar Express open-air car, which used to be a former Amtrak baggage car. And in here is where they sell souvenirs and have drinks for the people riding along. They also have a nice little photo gallery, of ACL 1504's restoration, which is the next locomotive to be part of the Sugar Express fleet. And on the other side of the car is a quick photo gallery of USSC 148, which is the very engine that'll be pulling our train today.
Yes. Where would you live or express?
Will you sign, please?
Oh, sure.
Right on time at 10 a.m., the first Moore Haven Meteor trip of the day departs Clewiston for its 15-mile trip to Moore Haven. After we swing out of town and cross US 27, we turn left to the north and cross one of the many canals that crisscross the US Sugar's cane fields. I'm not going to narrate too much as we continue on to Moore Haven, as I want you to enjoy the sights and sounds of a steam locomotive at 40 miles an hour. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the trip to Moore Haven. Upon arriving in Moore Haven, we take a momentary pause to verify that the drawbridge is aligned and locked for our movement, then we continue across the Clewiston River. Also, I want to apologize for all the water in the previous clips. It's a live steam excursion. I can only do so much to prevent steam and water droplets getting on the camera. But hey, you really can't complain when you're doing something like this.
That's where we got the river looks.
Now that we're at the runaround track, we stop here as the crew unhooks 148 and brings it around to the other end of the train for the return trip to Clewiston.
They'll caboose when they come by because they always want to.
On the return trip, I actually took the opportunity to ride in the Georgia 300 for a bit, which is an incredibly cool experience to ride in a private rail car. You don't get to do it this often for a price this low, so I highly recommend if you ever get the chance to ride in a private car like this, especially on a US Sugar excursion, do it. It's totally worth it.
Candles and stuff out.
But that one guy that had that same car, when we did the air conditioning system, we actually put
Back in the observation car, we enjoy the sights and sounds of 148 once again as we make our leisurely trip back to Clewiston at 30 miles an hour. Not sure why they do this, but it's something I've noticed every time that when 148's running tender forward, they'll only do 30 instead of 40. I'm not sure if it's just timing wise, or it's something they want to do since they don't have the best view going in the reverse, but still, it makes a nice trip. And just like that, an hour and 45-minute, 30-mile round-trip ride comes to a close. I can't express how happy I am to have finally gone on my first mainline steam excursion, and I can't wait to do it again with the Sugar Express. From what I heard, this weekend was a series of tests to see how well they could integrate multiple 148 trips into the USSC's operating schedule. And from what I heard, this was a massive success. And in the future, they plan to do these trips monthly, if not weekly, depending on how much demand there is. I'm really looking forward to see what the future holds for this operation. And with that, my ride on the Moore Haven Meteor comes to a complete end. I want to thank Sugar Express, FMW Solutions, and US Sugar for putting on such a fantastic operation, and I can't wait to come ride it again in the future. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all in the next video.